Alright guys, today we're looking at a Peavey Teal Stripe Bandit, Scorpion equipped, and this guy was left on some dude's porch for like 3 months, out in the rain and everything. It's got a broken potentiometer right there. It's missing that knob too, of course. And it was very, very rusty. I've already cleaned the all the metal nuts and stuff that would come off. Already cleaned those, so here's a little bit of footage of that. I just put them in a WD-40 bath like I like to do. So other things you can do at work. I've been doing a little electronics cleaner. And then using I have this piece of plug here, just working it around all the way up inside the jack. And I'll do that to all the jacks, and then I'll clean this probe, because that's all it is, in between each jack. And then I've also been spraying my electronics cleaner in these Peavey potentiometers. Work it around, let it dry. Now there's one potentiometer that is different. It's a little 10K linear right there. It's different from all the other ones. And that one happens to be snapped off. So I've ordered another one. That's a train. This thing looks like it's in decent shape. It's pretty dirty and gross, but I had to clean a lot of it, and I obviously can't adjust the post gain, so we're gonna have to replace that. I went ahead and preemptively ordered the pot here, which is a 10K linear pot, and it should be the exact one that is broken, so that should fix that problem. And let's take a look at the back, and I'll show you that the back is actually much more gross. Alright, so we're taking out the back panel, and I'll get some more zoomed out shots, but you can see how much crap is in here. This is just one of the back panels, just filled with grossness. There were tons of spider webs in this thing. You can see that I've already cleaned these nuts as well. Some of these had freaking mud dauber nests built inside the amp. So I did take it apart while I was at work and clean it out, because there was some major hum on the reverb circuit, and I wanted to make sure nothing was broken inside, and surprisingly, everything's good except for that one potentiometer. Let's take a closer look at the speaker here. Beefy old Scorpion. You can see that, once again, there's just grossness all over it. So here's the little tag on the side. But all this needs to be cleaned. Good old American-made Bandit Teal Stripe, handcrafted in the USA, Meridian, Mississippi. Then you can take a look down here. You can see just how nasty it is. So I'm going to take out this bottom panel, see if I can't get a better view of that. So now we've got the back off here. You can see the extent of the trauma. So it's probably a good time to mention I paid 20 bucks for this and another amp. And the other amp is a European amp called Star Sun, I think. It's a bass HB25 bass amp. Does not have an American plug. Not really worth my time, but it's got some parts I may steal off of it. We'll see. Yeah, so we got to take all this stuff out, clean it all up. For being out on the porch for a couple months, that speaker is in awesome shape. Alright, so you can see that it's a little bit dusty in here. I did blow some of this dust out. You can see it's not too awful dirty. Right? Now there are spots like here where it says burned in, and this is all bled off, so I don't know if maybe a drop of water got in there at some point or something. The guy straight up told me it was in the rain. And actually my buddy Chad picked this up for me, so I appreciate that. Thanks, Chad. You can see here where our broken post is for that potentiometer. Right there, that's the one we got to replace. What's interesting about that is the only one that broke is the only one that's different from the rest. Kind of interesting. Now, I have to take screws out of this, I should also mention I've drained the caps, so I'm not too worried about getting electrocuted. If you crack open your own amp, and it's got big old capacitors, which it's going to have, drain your caps, okay? So I'm going to take all the nuts to all these off, because you have to do that to be able to remove the actual amp from the chassis. I should mention I have a helper today. It is Coconut. You guys know Coconut. He's a little sleepy now. And so we have our actual amp disconnected from the chassis. And I just want to show you guys quickly, if you are planning on taking apart your Teal Stripe Peavey Bandit, this is what you need to do. This is everything you need to remove. So these are all our jack nuts and washers. You have all of these little bolts that are hidden beneath the chassis that hold the back plate on there, because you have to remove the back plate as well. All the knobs, these are all the potentiometer nuts right here. You have the 2 metal straps on top with the 4 screws that go to that. It's a whole lot of things to take off the amp just to be able to access it. So now that we've got that, we're gonna start getting the solder ready. So you guys know on the channel I like to show you things that you don't normally get to see. Check out this gorgeous vintage board. Just look at these big old beefy traces and the Bandit 112 right there in the middle. That's just gorgeous, man. Look at that. So here's the offending article that we've taken out here. I actually cut the legs. It was much easier to do that than try to wick the solder off of 8 joints. And then here's the new one we're about to put in. So I will get this guy put in. It's a direct replacement. It's not real interesting to see me soldering this, so I didn't think you'd care. But anyway, yeah. Let's get this put in and see if it works. So I'm trying to get work done, and Ash is just, I guess he wants lovins. He's coming up here being super cute, knocking everything apart. He's being silly. So here we go, panning across. And you can clearly see our new potentiometer all stepped in, ready to go. So check this out. Whoever Inspector 4641 was wrote 92791 on the inside of the little heatsink there. It's kind of cool. Either that or 4641 is the number of the amp. I don't know how it works. So I'm getting things put back together. I'm taking the time to really clean this faceplate, and the teal is starting to pop, so that's good. It's in really, really good shape. So this old Tolex on these old Peaveys is very, very tough stuff. So normally when it's damaged, somebody had to drop it real hard or put a hurt on it. It's thicker than modern Tolex, and whatever glue they use is stellar, because these are, if you've ever re-Tolex one of these are heck to get off. They're really tough. But I'm just going to use some all-purpose cleaner and then come back with some clean water, or probably not window cleaner for this, but some paper towels, some clean water, get all this junk off. You can see it's already starting to turn brown. Maybe you can't, I can. And just gonna really, really scrub this Tolex, because for one, it can take it, and for two, it needs it. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm gonna do to all the sides, and we'll take the speaker out here and all that stuff in just a second. This side is the top is super gross. Of course it would be. It was sitting outside, so the top is super gross. So I'm taking off the handle so that I can clean the handle separately, because of course it is pretty nasty as well. And you can hear Coconut fighting with things down there. But just real quick, let's take a little spritz there. Let's just see how nasty it is. Yep, that's what we're dealing with. Sometimes the old Velcro is incredibly strong on these, and you feel almost like you're gonna break it when you take them off. Yeah, this has got some grode, as does our speaker. Okay, there's a bug in there. But as does our speaker, which we are about to go ahead and pull. This guy is super dirty. So before I use any kind of solvent on a speaker, because remember, this is a paper cone, and it's a paper cone that's been exposed to the elements. We're just going to try and take off whatever we can with a paper towel. I think I'm going to grab the vacuum. You can see that the vacuum did a whole lot of the work for me. I'm not going to clean the cone with anything else. I could maybe use some alcohol or possibly even some window cleaner since it evaporates quickly. But I really don't want to saturate that cone with anything. So clean it off with the vacuum. I'm now cleaning the basket with paper towel and some cleaner. You can see there's all this oxidation from the elements while it was out there. There's a really interesting story behind these aluminum strips on a lot of these Peaveys. And one day I'm going to do a video about how they came to be. I think it's pretty cool. Necessity. It's a story about how necessity is the mother of invention. So we're outside, and our righteous cleaning has knocked some of the particle board off. So we're going to do a quick respray of the baffle here. I'm just using some quick dry black primer. So that way we can get right back to work. Alright, we're going to let that dry. Alright guys, we got our Peavey all put back together, and I think, man, this amp sounds good. I was having a really good time jamming on it the other night, and I don't have it up very loud right now because during that time frame when I was jamming on it, I put it up at like 5, which for these old Peaveys is an obscene volume. It was so loud, it was shaking things in this room, and the speaker started flubbing out a little bit. You can hear this like extra vibration they start to get when they start giving out, and that makes sense. You know, this was on some guy's porch for a long time. So while it sounds really good, now we have a problem. The reverb on these things is glorious. Got our knob fixed, which was that post gain, I believe. It works fine now. And I replaced the knob that was missing. I pulled the knob over here, put it on the post gain. This is actually a slightly smaller knob from a previous year model. I couldn't find these, but I'll have to drill this out just a bit to make it fit all the way down on there, but it'll be okay. But not bad for 20 bucks. But let's see if you can hear that flubbing out when I turn up the gain. So it's definitely the speaker giving out. I've actually gone through and checked everything to make sure there wasn't anything rattling against it. I took the grill off and tried it without that. So there is an issue with that. So I need you guys to vote. what would you like to see me do? Would you like to see me get a new speaker and replace the speaker in this thing? Or what if we made this into a head? Because it's a beastly amp. I think they're what, 65 watts this year, maybe 75? It's a loud amp. It could run a cab, no problem. So we could find another Scorpion, or we could pull the speaker, make this thing into a head, put us an output jack on the back, and try some other cabs with it. You let me know. I'm going to hold on to this guy for a while, as it's cleaned up really well, and I think it looks pretty nice. So thanks everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it. And our channel's getting close to 5,000 subs, so help me out. If you haven't subbed, please do, and tell your friends. And if you made it this far in the video, here's some bonus footage of Coconut learning to climb a ladder. He did it all by himself. I was so proud of him. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.